welcome to Premier League Primetime. Today, of course, is deadline day. The transfer window shuts tomorrow, or wherever you are watching this in the world, as we all know, on September 1st. And I am joined by two good friends of mine. Starting off with the one and only Sebastien, aka Sebastien. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. Good intro.
And I'm also joined by Mr. Ocean. My guy, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Let's just get right into it. Some of the biggest deals and sagas that have been going on in this transfer window. We'll start off, and I'll start with you, Ocean, because I know of your love for Manchester City, starting off with the whole Harry Kane saga that just basically transpired throughout the entire, basically from the end of the season. It seemed as if he was going, but of course we all know Daniel Levy and how much, he likes to basically milk every penny out for his star players. And ended up that Kane is staying at Spurs. Ocean, what are your thoughts on this saga? And do you think this was a real missed opportunity for Manchester City this summer?
I think obviously Kane is an exceptional talent, but I think at the same time with the players that Manchester City have, I think it wasn't too much of a loss. At the same time, we were able to acquire Grealish, and I think that was a great signing. But I think with the forwards they already have, with the likes of Mahrez and honestly, I just think Mahrez is the best player in the Premier League. So, in my opinion, he's the best. So, I think without having Kane, it's not really a downfall. So, losing Kane was not too much of a big deal for me, I'd say.
All right. Well, fair enough. I mean, I have City fans who told me that they needed a striker this summer. Well, Gabriel Jesus is the only recognized number 9 at Manchester City at the moment. But as you said, some people may have other thoughts on whether Mahrez is the best player in the Premier League, but no one can question how talented of a player he definitely is. He's a top player, Riyad Mahrez. Going into just some of the latest deals, just deals that have been done over deadline day. Sebastien, I'll move to you. Ozan Kabak, he was on loan at Liverpool last season. He's gone to Norwich on loan. What are your thoughts on this? Specifically asking you because I know that you were able to watch a bit of Ozan Kabak. Do you think he'll be able to help Norwich out this season?
Yeah, I think he was a really good addition for Liverpool, and he's going to be really good at Norwich, but I wish we could have kept him. But, the loan messed us up, so yeah.
Yeah. I personally thought he did a decent job, although he reminded me a bit of Lindelof in the sense that just in terms of just him being in the air, he just didn't look all that convincing, but he looks like a good player on the ball. And my predictions just for Norwich is that they're just going to go right back down, but a quality player to add to their side, and I think he'll do wonders to help them this season. Another deal done on deadline day. The Welsh Sonic the Hedgehog, as I call him, Daniel James, he's left Manchester United, and somehow Leeds United paid a whopping £30 million. I'll throw this one out to either one of you. What do you make of Dan James signing for Leeds? Do you think he'll be a good addition?
To be honest, I'm not really a fan of Daniel James. I think he's a little bit overrated, but at the same time,
he ain't worth 30 mil.
I think going to Leeds, it would be good for him. He can get a name for himself there. And I think in Manchester United, he was playing in the shadows of some players. So I think going to Leeds was a great idea for him. So happy for him.
And when you look at, his style of play, or Leeds' style of play, they definitely like to have those pacey players on the wings like Jack Harrison, and you have Rafinha, who's more of the techie player, as some could say, and they love when teams leave open spaces at the back, and when they leave open spaces at the back, as I said, Daniel James turns into prime Theo Walcott, just bombing down the wing. He basically always turns into prime Theo Walcott against Man City just because they always left open space at the back, and same with Leeds. Another signing, Willian, who has just been catastrophic for Arsenal. And speaking of Arsenal, it can't really get any worse at the moment. 20.5 million pounds Willian was paid off just to leave to go to Corinthians. How big of a failure was Willian at Arsenal?
I think Arsenal in general is a failure. They've been doing really bad, but Willian used to be a good player, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal, everything else Arsenal touches goes bad. So
I agree with Sebastien Ocean.
whoa.
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, I agree with that. I think when they signed him, not only Arsenal fans, but I raised my eyebrows a bit. They have so many players that can play out wide. They have the likes of Bukayo Saka, who for those who watch and know, I just have the highest levels of praise for. Nicola Pepe, Gabriel Martinelli. They have players who can play out wide, and then I was like, Willian, that's kind of a weird one, but try to justify it, maybe his experience or the number 10 position, but it's just something that didn't work out. Next, Emerson Royal, a man who came back from Real Betis, the Brazilian right back who was re-signed by Barcelona on I think for 5 million or on a free, because Barcelona just have zero cash right now. And Joan Laporta, I remember him saying that, we hope this guy will be at Barcelona for many, many years. So then up on deadline day, Tottenham threw out 30 million, and just like that, the deal was done. Is this a good signing for Tottenham?
Griezmann just went back to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I did see that one as well. Antoine Griezmann. I don't know how the Atletico fans will receive him. I doubt it will be anything good, for he didn't leave on a very good note at all. But yeah, we'll stick with Griezmann actually. What are your thoughts on Antoine Griezmann going back to Atletico?
I don't think he did well at Barcelona.
Yeah,
so I think it's good.
Dog at Barcelona.
I think it's good that he went back to Atletico because he did really bad on Barcelona.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Yeah, Aguero's kind of fat though, so I don't know if he'd be good for Barca.
Yeah, another poor Bartomeu Barca signing. They were on the verge of signing Neymar, and then they signed Griezmann. I was like, just doesn't make it. Just another player that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But jumping back to Emerson Royal, the right back. Do you think that's a good signing for Tottenham, considering the fact that they already have Japhet Tanganga playing at right back? They have.
Oh yeah, Tanganga's good. They lost all
They're just
their
no-namers, honestly.
they lost all their Belgian center backs. They're down bad right now. So
they've conceded 0 goals so far in the Premier League this season. Somehow, with Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez at center back, somehow.
who are they played?
They played Man City opening day. Then they played Wolves away, and then they just played Watford at home. So,
not too bad.
But yeah, Emerson Royal, just another man to compete at right back. I think Matt Doherty and Serge Aurier are just not good enough, but hopefully, he'll provide some decent competition. The last 2 deadline day bit of news that I wanted to throw out. Sticking with you, Sebastien, Jordan Henderson signing that brand new 4-year contract. Happy with that?
Love to see it. He's a great player. Good in the middle.
Definitely. Jordan Henderson, not the most just, not necessarily visually attractive, but in terms of the style he plays, not the most amazing player, but in the system that Klopp plays, he's just so essential to what Liverpool do on and off the ball. And the last bit of news that I wanted to get to, Saul Niguez of Atletico Madrid joins Chelsea on loan. What do you think he could bring to Chelsea?
I don't know. I think he bring nothing more than they already have. Honestly, I think Chelsea's been
They've been in good.
in good form. Obviously, winning the Champions League, but I think it'll be a good addition. But I won't see much of a difference from their team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they already have a great midfield. I mean, you look at players like N'Golo Conte, and it's the Italian Mark Noble himself, Jorginho, Matteo Kovacic. I mean, those aren't some bad midfield options, are they? And now, looking at a bit of just transfer rumors that I thought maybe wouldn't happen this window, but maybe January.
I think Mendy's going to jail. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think we all figured that one out. Benjamin Mendy is just the most memed left back I could just, apart from Luke Shaw for good reasons. He's the most memed left back that I could just even think of, to be quite honest with you. But looking into some of these rumors that maybe could happen with the remaining time this window, or maybe in January. Starting with you, Ocean, do you think Manchester City will sign a striker either now or in January, or do you think it's hard to say, or do you think probably not?
Honestly, I think whatever happens, they're always in the rumors for getting a player, but it hasn't really happened. So I'm kind of upset, but at the same time, like, you know how we were linked to Messi and even the likes of Ronaldo, but I think if they can get somebody, they'll do it. So I think as soon as possible. I think as soon as they'll land somebody, it's Manchester City, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has to catch, it's Manchester City.
Yeah.
Sebastien, coming back to you, do you think Liverpool could sign potentially a new attacker? I mean, looking at the departures of Sheridan Shaqiri, maybe Divock Origi going this window, or maybe in January. Do you think Liverpool are in need of a new attacker?
Ronaldo. Or let's see, who's a good attacker? Are they good sign?
Realistically, throwing out a realistic name.
No, they definitely do need an attacker, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean that front three is just been.
Oh, they got Sane, Salah. I don't think they need an attacker.
I mean, they do have that front three, but I just Diogo Jota's done an incredible job coming in last season. Have you liked the look of Diogo Jota this past season, and looking at what he's done now?
Yeah, he's been playing really good. I think he's a good addition to the team.
Would you start him over Firmino?
No. I would give him some minutes, but definitely not over Firmino, because Firmino knows the tactics. Like he's been there a while. He knows the press. He knows how to find the back of the net. So I think he's a good player without looking. Yeah.
Looking at it last season, it didn't. I'd sort of have to disagree looking at last season. I mean, Firmino didn't know how to find the back of the net. Of course, up until the game at Old Trafford happened and Firmino just scores 2 screamers. And I was just like, you got to be serious. This guy doesn't score all year and he just scored 2 massive goals for Liverpool. And we basically gifted you guys a Champions League place this past season. So,
yeah, but the year before that, he was finding the back of the net. So hopefully he can find that. Hopefully he can find that again.
Yeah. And now, lastly, just going around to some of the teams in the Premier League and looking at some of the business that they've done. I'll start with Arsenal. 2 things that they actually did well. They brought in Ben White from Brighton. 15 million, some could say overpriced, some could say one for the future. Martin Odegaard coming back permanently, £35 million transfer fee. I'll throw this one out to both of you. Do you think these 2 are good additions for Arsenal?
Go ahead.
I think Arsenal is.
I think they're at a rebuilding stage.
It's a big club. I feel like they should be getting
bigger players.
More like world-class top players. I mean, obviously those players are good, but I think if Arsenal really wants to make a statement in the Prem, they need to start landing some big name players and making a difference. I think those players will only do so much.
Yeah, I think they're at a rebuilding stage right now, so they're building
Yeah.
up or from the bottom. They gotta-
100%. They're definitely at a rebuilding stage. When you just look at the past season that they've had, they're not even in any European competitions whatsoever. And in terms of just them as a proposition, they might not be, they're definitely not even might not be, they're just not the most attractive place to be. It's just not not from a biased point of view. It's just simply fact. When you look at it from the grand scheme of things. Going to Aston Villa, and now they've, through the sanctioned departure of Grealish for 100 million to Man City, they splashed some cash to make some unbelievable signings. Danny Ings from Southampton, he started off very well this season for 25 million pounds. Emi Buendia from Norwich, very good player, 38 million pounds, and Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen coming in for another 30 million pounds. Good signings for Villa.
Yes, I don't think anybody's going to replace Grealish, but I think those are some good signings.
What do you
Yeah,
think these three players could potentially bring to this Villa side this season?
I agree. Instead of Grealish like taking over the team, I feel like now they have better players.
More diversity.
Around the pitch. So I feel like they'll do better than they have been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're off to a decent start this season. I don't, as much as I can recall, I don't think they've lost a game this season. And Jennings, what?
I think they're top 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. When looking at it, as far as I can remember, Chelsea smashed a transfer record this season to bring in Romelu Lukaku for 97.5 million pounds. That's roughly 115 million euros. He's already scored, of course, against Arsenal, but surprise, surprise, when you're up against, Pablo Mari and Rob Balding, it's really not going to be that big of a challenge, is it? What do you think Lukaku could bring? Do you think he will score the goals that Chelsea desperately need to keep themselves in the fight for the title this season?
Yeah, I think he's a really good goal scorer, and he's Belgian too, so that helps.
Well, of course, asking you, I'm not really too surprised at that. I mean, you know all about that. Ocean, do you think Chelsea have the players that could give him the service that he needs? Because Lukaku's a player that he's kind of like, you need to get him the ball. He's not the kind of player who's going to drop back and receive the ball and is going to create for himself. He needs service. Do you think Chelsea also have the players that can give him the service he needs?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like Chelsea have world-class players. You saw it last year. They obviously took the Champions League, and I think with the likes of Pulisic and other players, Georgie, I think for sure they have the likes to get Lukaku some goals, and I'm excited to see what they can do for this season for sure.
And speaking of scoring goals, just throwing out, just based on all curiosity, who do you think will win the Golden Boot this season, just prediction-wise?
Ronaldo.
Lukaku probably.
Yeah, Romelu Lukaku was also my prediction. I threw that out at the beginning of in our season opener. I mean, if you get the guy the ball and the service he needs, this guy will score goals. I mean, he's a world-class striker at this point. He went and made a statement at Inter, and he's definitely earned this move to Chelsea. And Lukaku's unfinished business in the Premier League. And do I think he's got the ability to do it? I 100% think he does. Moving to Leicester, and they've also made some very good signings this past summer. Patson Daka coming in from Salzburg for 23 million pounds, one of the best, young and up-and-coming strikers. He was the one who came in to replace Erling Haaland when he left for Dortmund. Babakary Samari, defensive midfielder from Lille, another good player coming in for 17 million. Ryan Bertrand on a free from Southampton, the left back, and Yannick Vestergaard, Wesley Fofana out for the season, and they had to bring in a replacement, also from Southampton. What do you make of these 4 signings? Do you think they'll help Leicester improve for this season and fight for the top four?
Yeah, I think they have a good team. They have a good forward. They have Vardy.
I think
So-
yeah, for sure. They're always up there ever since they won. And I think they have a good management, and with the likes of Vardy, of course, he's also probably going to be running for that Golden Boot. And
Definitely.
yeah, I think Leicester is going to be a great side. Who else do they have? Tielemans. I think he's
And
great.
Tielemans, I mean,
Belgium.
if you ask Sebastian about Tielemans, I'm guessing he'll wax lyricals about Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for sure that they have a good team. So I'm excited to see what they'll do too. I think I'll predict them probably top 6, top 5.
Top 6. All right.
And like Casper Schmeichel.
Yeah, Schmeichel back there. I love Leicester, so it's where my boy Mars came. And yeah, I love Mars, so I love Leicester.
Doesn't your friend play?
Huh?
Your friend plays there, right? Yeah.
No, not anymore. But he's big to Leicester. But he's on the U23s.
Hey, Brentford haven't done bad this season. I mean, they could. I mean, I know it's only 3 games, but I mean, impressive win against Arsenal, which they dominated the game. And then, again, they haven't lost. They haven't lost this season. They drew their second game, and I think they drew again against Villa. So they've done well to start their season. Going over to Liverpool, Ibrahima Konate coming in, their only signing of the summer. He's not getting game time at the moment, but what do you think he'll bring Liverpool?
I don't think he's gonna bring a good quality to the Liverpool, but I don't think that he's gonna have a big impact. I think Liverpool is pretty set on the players that they have already, so I don't think he's gonna have that much of an impact.
I mean, as we saw from last season, they were desperately ravaged by injuries, and Nat Phillips and Ree Williams were basically anchoring that Liverpool defense. When Ozan Kabak was out injured and Fabinho was out, and those 2 kids basically had to go out and do it themselves. Do you think it's another good option, another depth option to have at center back with the players that they already have?
Yeah, for sure. But I think that the young academy players that got a chance to play was very good for Liverpool because it gave them more experience and for the future of the club.
Yeah, fair enough. And now, Ocean, moving to you. Of course, Jack Grealish, £100 million coming in. What specifically do you think Grealish will not bring, but just improve about Manchester City this season? Do you think, and looking at him and Bernardo Silva will most likely be fighting for that place, in whether it's the attacking midfield or on the wing, what do you think that he'll bring that's sort of different than what Bernardo Silva will bring?
Honestly, I think like having that competition in a team would be very impactful for a team like Manchester City. I think Pep Guardiola, he's really keen on playing the players that are doing well in this specific moment. But I think just having that competition every single day, probably in and out of training, fighting for that starting spot, I feel like is really good for the team. So I feel like Grealish will come in there and definitely make a difference. And the level is only going to go up like with a player like Grealish. So I think fighting for that spot every day will only help Manchester City.
Definitely. You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, you absolutely nailed it there. Just another top quality player to have, just fighting it out for a place in that side. And what will he bring? Definitely great hairstyles, high top socks, 100%. In addition to his amazing technical abilities with the ball, and his shooting ability is just absolutely unreal. And this guy has. He's one of the most saucy players that I've seen, and technically he's the best in my opinion. I think Jack Grealish is the best technical English player that I've seen since back to Paul Gascoigne days, and that's way back.
Yeah.
Back in the 1990s.
He has nice hair.
That is very true. Although I do think Paul Pogba's haircuts are definitely better in the
Yeah.
most non-biased opinions.
Right.
And shifting to the team that he plays for, Manchester United have definitely made some statement signings this window. The man who I was getting really bored of hearing linked to United, and finally that deal is done. Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund for 75 million pounds, but 95, which goes roughly to 95 million euros from Borussia Dortmund. Rafael Varane for around 40 million pounds, and of course the big one that came exactly. CR7 is back. Cristiano Ronaldo for 30 million pounds from Juventus on the last year of his contract. Um, I mean, how big of a statement is this by Manchester United, and especially with these specific three players that they've signed and the stature that they have in world football today? How much of a difference do you think these three players can make, and what could they bring to this United side?
I think that it was really good signings, and I'm going to switch my favorite team to Man U now. So Man U, because Varane's my favorite center back, and I love Ronaldo, so I like Man U now. Yeah.
So on my hand, I hate Manchester United. I think Ronaldo was not a good signing. I think they could have saved their money, invested into a better defense.
That's the market.
I think David De Gea is also washed, and I don't know. I think Ronaldo is getting too old for the league, and for the Premier League, is over too fast for him. Of course, he performed in Italy, but no, I think we're going to tempt Ronaldo, and it's just So you can't tell I'm a Man City fan.
Well, I mean, I'll go right to David De Gea. I don't know if you saw the game against Wolves, but I mean, if it weren't for David De Gea, we probably would have lost that game like 8-1 if it weren't for him. I mean, he made some absolutely.
Yeah, he had some good games here and there, but honestly, like if you put me in the Premier League, honestly, I'd score on him. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, always someone who wouldn't watch the Premier League would say, yes, his ability definitely has gone down. He's definitely past his prime years or his best years, I could say. But he's still got many years left to go. I mean, he is a goalkeeper, and he's in his early 30s, and that's basically a goalkeeper's prime. So technically, he's not even in his prime years yet. But I mean, we all know the quality that a keeper like David De Gea has. Whether people want to say if he's at his, in his best years or not, he's definitely still one of the best in the business out there. Maybe not the top 5 or the number 1 like he used to be, but he's definitely still one of the best out there in the goalkeeping business. But Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, this guy is gone and he's won trophies. He's broken records, positive records, goal scoring records, basically every kind of record that you can think of. I mean, he's a world class player at the end of the day. And just with the amount of attackers that United have, I mean, how do you think Solskjaer and Manchester United will work with the attack that they have? I mean, in addition to Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, you look at the attackers that they have. I mean, you have Marcus Rashford, who will come back from injury in about 2 months' time. You have Anthony Martial, Ice Cold Tony, Mason Greenwood, Jadon Sancho, Amad Diallo set to stay. I mean, Manchester United really have an attacking conundrum on their hands. And what front three do you think would be just the most lethal and the most dangerous to throw out? Oh, not to forget Edinson Cavani as well.
Ronaldo, Cavani, Greenwood.
All right. Ocean, what about you?
I have to go with. Yeah, I have to agree with Seb, even though I don't want to. But.
Fair enough.
What number do you think Ronaldo's gonna wear?
I think Cavani's gonna take the number 21 jersey, and I think because
he already played in the Premier League game.
I mean, I don't think you don't bring in Ronaldo and you don't give him the number 7 shirt. I think
he's gonna wear 28.
I saw that he was gonna wear 20. I mean, my personal prediction is that he'll get the number 7. I could very well be wrong.
Yeah, if he doesn't get number 7, I think he'll be good. Honestly, either 7 or nothing. So.
I mean, it's just reminiscent of the old days and growing up and and watching him on TV and whatnot, and it just, I mean, it really brings all the nostalgia back for the United faithful. Um, Jumping over to Newcastle, and some people will be saying, why on earth are we jumping to Newcastle? Well, they've splashed the cash to bring in Joe Willock from Arsenal for £25 million, who came in and was basically the reason why they stayed in the Premier League. Do you think Joe Willock will have the same impact this season as he did last season for Newcastle?
Yeah, I think he'll do good, but again, everything Arsenal touches goes bad. So eventually, he's gonna stop playing good.
Ocean, what about you? What are your thoughts on Joe Willock, just in general as a player?
I don't know. I think he needs. I don't know. I don't think he's too special, to be honest. So
He needs to work on his fitness, I think.
yeah.
Fair enough. We'll jump to Tottenham now. And they've made some decent signings as well. In addition to Emerson, Christian Romero for roughly 50 million or 55 million euros from Atalanta. Pierluigi Golini, another Atalanta player coming in on loan with a 15 million pound buy option. And Brian Hill as their new sporting director. Fabio Paratici has likened him to Federico Chiesa, and the signing of Federico Chiesa for 21.6 million pounds plus Eric Lamela going the other way. Do you think Tottenham have done good business this summer?
They signed Chiesa?
No.
Oh, they should.
Brian Hill from Sevilla, he's likened to Federico Chiesa.
Definitely should sign Chiesa, but I don't think the other transfers are worth the money. I think they should have not spent that much money on those transfers and invested it into the stock market. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, I don't think they should have spent all that money on those.
I mean, they needed signings of some kind. I mean, they were a shambles looking at the end of last season.
They got a good defense and a good attack. They just need to build a mid a little bit, and they got a good goalie. So I think they should be fine.
Yeah. Lloris has done decently well this season. I mean, he's conceded no goals. I mean, I disagreed with Arsenal's sale of Toby Alderweireld, whether it was him that wanted to go or Nuno Espirito Santo that didn't like the look of him or whatever it was. He still had, I think, a year or two left on his contract anyways. And I was just sort of confused why they sold their best center back. I wasn't really, from a neutral perspective, wasn't really quite on board with that. And lastly, over to Wolves. Francisco Trincao coming on loan from Barcelona, and Jose Sa from Olympiacos replacing Rui Patricio, who's Roma bound. What do you make of these signings for Wolves, and how do you think Wolves will fare this season?
I think Rui Patricio is a really good goalie. He is a good goalie, but he's getting kind of old. So, but he's Portuguese. So.
Very true. Very true.
But I think they'll have a solid team. Raul Jimenez, right? Is that the fourth?
Yep.
He's coming back from his hand injury, so I think they should have a solid team.
Yeah, I like Wolves too. Torre is a tank.
Oh yeah. Dama Traore gave me nightmares for me. So did Fred when we played against Wolves. If it had been Lindelof and Maguire, I probably would have gone into an aneurysm or maybe developed a panic attack of some kind because Adama Traore would have had Lindelof on absolute toast. Just because anything with Maguire and Lindelof, it's just never good. I mean, I've said it so many times. And McTominay and Fred, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I think
Torres is so big and muscular.
He has some nice legs.
He has really nice. He's just so
very true.
So big and I don't know. I like the way he runs, and I just like.
He's good at pressing. He has a good press.
He has such meaty legs that no one can get the ball from him.
The way he runs in his press is the way he shapes his body, cutting off the goalie. I feel like it's a good press.
He has a big muscular body, but he can shield the ball off. You know what I'm saying? No one can get the ball closer, but when he slows down and then accelerates, he's unstoppable. I think he's one of the top players in the Premier League. If he went to a better team, I feel like he can excel more. But I feel like his meaty, like juicy legs, like they no one can get the ball from him. He's so fast. He's amazing.
He's like the fastest person I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the, if not the paciest player in the Premier League. Didn't have the greatest of season last season, but the season before he was unbelievable. And he looks to be on a good
I don't think he's a goal scorer, but I think he's an assister, and like he gets crosses in, and I feel like with his pace, his legs, and everything like that, I feel like he'll be a good addition to Raul Jimenez up top.
Definitely. I mean, looking at it 2 seasons ago, I mean, how many times that season did we see an Adama Traore cross for a Raul Jimenez header or Raul Jimenez finish? I mean, Adama Traore is not only crucial for Wolves, but he gets the best out of Raul Jimenez as well in terms of what he can do on the ball and how those two can link up off the ball as well. Lastly, I just want to shift back to Chelsea because sure they haven't made that many incomings, but looking at the sales that they've made, for me it's just I'm baffled. I mean, they sold Kurt Zuma for £30 million, Tammy Abraham for £40 million, Giroud for $5 million, Fikayo Tomori for I think it was another £25 million. I mean, Chelsea have done some very good business in terms of their outgoings.
I think they should have kept Zuma. He's what I
Zuma.
Went to West Ham.
I think he was one of my favorite center backs, and I think he had a bright future. He was really
Kurt Zuma.
He's been young.
No.
What? He's good.
No.
Are you serious now?
Yeah, I don't like him.
I like him.
You like him?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they should have kept him. He's a young-ish center back, and he had a lot of potential. So.
I mean, looking at the center back options, I mean, that Chelsea already have. I mean, Trevor Chalobah's coming through the youth ranks. I mean, you have Azpilicueta, Captain Marvel for Chelsea. Thiago Silva, I mean, he's not getting any younger. Andreas Christensen, who looks like a totally different player now under Thomas Tuchel. I mean, Chris James can fit back there. I mean, you have some good options to slot back in there.
I think Azpilicueta's getting a little old, so they should have kept Zuma, but they do what they want.
I mean, I think they sold Zuma because they thought they were going to get Jules Koundé from Sevilla, but that deal fell through at the very end, as Sevilla said, pay the release clause or you're not getting him. And Roman Abramovich basically said, no, I'm not doing that. Anything else to say before we wrap up the show?
What do you think about Manu's the transfer, and how do you think they're going to line up at top?
Yeah, what do you think Manchester United's starting 11 will be?
I think Manchester United desperately missed something that I think was glaring for any fan, and not even any fan, but just any spectator to see. We needed someone in the midfield. We needed a midfielder. I've already heard people say, well, I mean, we got Donny van de Beek, but Donny van de Beek, it's as if he's it's as if he turns up to games, and throws that invincibility cloak from Harry Potter over his head and just basically walks around Old Trafford in that, because it's basically like he's just not even there and non-existent. Solskjaer clearly does not fancy him. And Nemanja Matic is not getting any younger at all.
On the team? Oh my God, he's so old.
I know. I'm beginning a 3-year contract back in the summer of 2020. So Phil Jones is still at this club, and I have absolutely no idea why he's still here. Just gave him a 4-year deal.
I don't know.
For real.
Phil Jones, gotta love Phil Jones, but it's time to say goodbye to Phil. Quality center back, but
I have a good question. What player would you say has the hottest girlfriend on the Manchester United?
That's a good question. I generally don't know, to be honest with you.
Ronaldo.
I mean, that's a shout. It's not a bad shout, to be honest with you. I mean, I genuinely have no idea when looking at that. But
He's the most attractive dude on the team for sure.
Yeah, he's also a role model. I love looking at his Instagram. Like he probably gets the girls.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you want to know what else will be attractive to you? The Glazers and their freaking money pockets, and their pockets are going to be filling up with cash.
Well said.
They probably already made all their money back from the jersey sale.
Yeah, they probably did. 30 million. They probably made double the price anyways in terms of season tickets. And
I think they bought them for too cheap.
I mean, they bought him for 30 million. I mean, a player.
He's worth at least $3 million. That's on game.
Wow.
But getting back to that question you threw out earlier, I just think Manchester United desperately needed a midfielder. I think Solskjaer wanted a midfielder, but I just don't think he was given a midfielder. It's not an excuse at all. Solskjaer has nowhere to hide because even with the players that he has, I still think he can do something with the squad. It was very clear that he wanted Declan Rice. West Ham said 100 million pounds, and
Declan Rice is not worth 100 million.
No, of course not. Quality player, but not worth it. I was hoping to bring in someone like a Ruben Neves into Manchester United. I think a player like that.
Or Noon Minge. What? Noon Minge. I think PSG just signed him, but I think he's Man U should have signed him.
Definitely, 100%. I just think a defensive midfielder was at the biggest of priorities, and they just didn't do it.
Renato Sanchez.
What?
Renato Sanchez.
Good player, very good player. But not the kind of player that Manchester United needs. I think we already have those box-to-box players in players like Paul Pogba, Scott McTominay, Donny van de Beek. Of course, he's not going to be playing anytime soon. But I just think that someone on the more defensive side would have been helpful because Fred's been awful the past 2 games. McTominay's not a defensive midfielder, and Matic is not getting any younger. I just think that's a big gaping hole that United just didn't fill. Question I actually asked both of you, looking at your respective teams and looking at just assuming everyone's fit, who would be your main starting 11 just for your team to see the season? Sebastien, starting with you and Liverpool. And what formation would you play?
Well, you know how I changed my favorite team?
Yeah.
I'll just go Liverpool. I'll do so Becker, Allison, obviously. Go Virgil. I'll play 3 in the back. So okay. Virgil, Fabinho, and Trent.
Okay.
And then 5 in the middle. So I'll play 3-5-2. Go Chamberlain, Thiago, Jordan Henderson. Then right wing half. Because it's not wing back, it's a wing half.
Okay.
I would go. Oh, stop. I would go Williams and Robertson.
Okay.
And then up top, I would go Mane and Salah.
Okay.
And then I would get Firmino in the rotation there.
All right. Sounds like a team that I don't know that I'd just throw out in FIFA. Need the pace and boom. Gotta have that sweat. Ocean, over to you. What would be your preferred starting 11 just this season? Looking at the players that Pep Guardiola has at his disposal for Manchester City.
I love Pep. I trust him to make a great lineup.
Let's hear your lineup.
This my lineup. I would put Zach Steffen. I love the way he plays. I'm a US fan, so I mean Ederson's good and all, but Zach Steffen's pretty good. In reality, I put Ederson, and then defenders. I'll play 4 at the back, so we would definitely do Kyle Walker, Benjamin Mendy on the left, and then Stones in there, Laporte, and
Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz.
Wait, oh yeah. I think he put Mendy.
I think I'll put. Huh?
You put Mendy, right?
Yeah, you put Mendy at left back.
Oh yeah. You said if everyone was healthy, right?
and available, but clearly Mendy's not going to be available at all this season.
I know you said if everyone was fit. That's what you said.
If,
So okay, never
if
mind.
everyone's fit.
Okay, never mind then. Okay. So yeah, I would do Ruben Diaz. But
Ruben Diaz.
I like Mendy though. I like Mendy.
He's a player.
In the midfield. So are we still doing if everyone's fit or no?
Yeah, go about your midfield.
Okay, because in that case I put De Bruyne for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So De
Ronaldo.
Bruyne in there, Fernandinho in the 6, and then I'll probably put Bernardo in there. Up top, of course, best player in the Premier League, Riyad Mahrez on the right, and then on the left, I like Phil Foden, and then up top, I like putting Grealish in there so he can drop into the midfield. So yeah, I'd start Grealish.
Play like a false 9.
Yeah, a false 9 and have those front 3 rotate like Man City did last season. To end the video, I'll just throw out my preferred starting 11, I guess, for United right now. In goal, David De Gea. As of right now, I don't see how Dean Henderson has to earn his way back. I'm not giving him the number 1 shirt. David De Gea has had 3 spectacular games for Man United this season. For me, he does not deserve to be dropped. I'll play back 4. Of course, Wan-Bissaka right back, Varane and Maguire at center back. Those two looking like an amazing partnership already, just after 1 game. Roberto Carlos himself, Luke Shaw at left back, best left back in the Premier League. Honestly, I just think that's a fact by now. Holding midfielder, I'll put Jesus as my holding midfielder because we need as much hope and prayers as we can possibly get. But no, in all reality, he's been shocking, but I mean, it's between Fred and Matic, and those two aren't really great, aren't they? I mean, I'll go with Matic for right now because he's more experienced and you need a calm head in there. And then, of course, partnering him, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. Those two will be massive for Manchester United this season, without question. Paul Pogba, we all know the ability that man has got, and same with Bruno Fernandes. And then a front 3. This is gonna be interesting right now. Marcus Rashford has to earn his way back despite the status that he has. And for me, I'd go Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side. I'll go Mason Greenwood on the right-hand side, and of course CR7 up front. That's what I'd go with. Anything else to say before we wrap the video up?
Go Man U.
Well, excited to see the season go on, and let's go City.
Well, that's it for today's transfer deadline day. If you've liked what you've seen and absolutely just loved what Seb Baresi himself and Ocean have brought, please smash like on this video and comment below. What are your thoughts on transfer deadline day? Subscribe to the channel. Look at our other platforms. Big up Cal Poly because Cal Poly SLO is just the place to be. That's just fact.
Thank you for having us.
Always, and we hope to definitely see YouTube back again at some point. I really enjoyed today's show, and wherever you're watching this, have a great day or evening.